so long is like alchemy.
I kind of compare the Spurs to the Patriots. Very disciplined, tight to the vest, and just a long run of success at the top of the NBA. But just like the Patriots, I think it appears that this run is about to be over. The decisions they've made and the way the game is being played, I think the torch has already been passed to this organization in the Bay. They're always going to be respectable and they're always going to be competitive. Right out of the gate, I like this from Draymond. Now, he gets called for the travel, but I like his mindset. I think he's been told, hey, get off the three-point line. You're almost shooting 29% from there. So the travel call, but I liked the mindset. And they opened up with Zaza and Aldridge, and that's a tough shot. In hindsight, rewatching this, I may have been a little tough on Zaza. LaMarcus made some tough plays here. Here's Steph coasting, and this is one of the calls where they need to be consistent with. Because Isaiah Thomas, Harden, Paul, Kyrie, they get away with it every night, so keep it consistent. There's the new precision lob that Draymond's been throwing of late, and it's much more accurate and higher efficiency. Here's more Aldridge, and he wants to get over that left shoulder for the hook. I'll break it down as this game goes on, and, you know, they attack Zaza like most teams do, and see right here, it's Draymond coming over, and he bails him out. The key is the rotations have to be very crisp when Zaza's on the floor. That's just what it is. Now, that's an easy baseline drive on Bertans there, but Draymond may be robbed of his aggression after that early travel call. And here we got the 3-5-4 for 2 points. That's a nice little play, but it's with Zaza and Draymond around the basket, the two guys that are going to be there. They're both such reluctant finishers at times. It just puts a lot of pressure on the perimeter shooting. There's KD, and he could have done that all night long. Let's be honest here. Here we go, putting Zaza in a pick and roll again. And see, watch this. He can't help and recover. You see how he can't really help Clay there because he knows he can't recover to LaMarcus. And LaMarcus is priority one. Here we go again where he needs to step. He needs to step and hedge off Kyle Anderson a little bit for Draymond. Slow him down. Take a little step there, but he can't do it because he knows he can't recover. So it's just physical limitations. It's not basketball IQ or even effort with Zaza. But then you take a look at the offensive side of the ball. He gets away with moving screens and hip checks and just laying guys out, frankly, at times. And without a doubt, he frees our shooters better than any other screen setter. Now, Draymond and Zaza, both reluctant finishers at the rim. Draymond needs an extra dribble here. The one dribble doesn't draw Bertans far enough out, and then Zaza, the quick touch pass back, but it's just a difficult play. If JaVale's there, that's probably an easy alley-oop dunk. Back in transition, the closeout, and it's a 4-point play. And so moving forward, I'm really going to start to weigh the JaVale-Zaza matchups in the switching. And look at this. Look at Iguodala taking a jump shot with both Steph and Clay in the game. Clearly, he's been talked to. He's been pulled aside like, hey, bro, you got to shoot the ball. And this is what the Spurs do. They keep moving the ball until they eventually break you down. Steph lets Anderson slide in, and Kerr wants to stop it. I don't know how many of y'all noticed, but how many of these blocks have we got from KD in the last month? Right? The block production has significantly decreased from Mr. Kevin Durant. Right before we were all talking about Defensive Player of the Year, and it's kind of disappeared. Watch Looney, who's in the game now for Zaza, with a great dig down and steal. But I want you to watch how long it takes Andre Iguodala to get into this play, just to give you an idea of maybe how little of the engine has been turned over for Iguodala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And finally, Iguodala decides to come into the front court. And, you know, hey, it is what it is. But I'm just saying that just maybe gives you a clue to how hard Iguodala is actually playing at this point. He's going to get an offensive rebound here, but that's a play drawn up for Pat. He let it fly confidently. That's what I could say. You saw the offensive rebound and then Steph with the corner three ball. The small size of their guards and then the slow feet of their forwards is just death against the Splash Brothers. Transition, the ageless one, Manu Ginobili. Why do I feel like he just guzzles olive oil? It's like his elixir. I don't know what that's about, man. But here's Aldridge. When he turns left shoulder, it's a running hook shot every single time. When he turns right shoulder, it's a fadeaway. And Looney's got to get hip to this. Now, here's more Iguodala. I don't necessarily like this shot. It's a difficult, contested shot. But like I said, I think it's pretty clear that he's been spoken to like, you need to start shooting the basketball, Andre. We just paid you $50 million, Andre. 3 threes for Manu. And San Antonio's always going to execute, and they're always going to start the game ready to play. Here's Steve.
You're just picking us apart, right? Guy cuts behind you down the lane. You got a miscommunication there. They're cutting behind us. This is what this team does. So we got to get solid defensively.
You know when you were a kid, when you were trick-or-treating and someone would just leave a bowl of candy out at their front door and just say, just take one? Well, that's what's kind of like when Powell switches out on the perimeter, right? It's just like a kid in a candy shop, Steph. And watch Patrick McCall take Danny Green, not looking at the ball, right into Andre's path. The youngsters' awareness and transition really needs some work, and there's Powell getting the basket. I'm sorry, Powell. I love you, Powell. Nah, I just like saying Powell. But here's Iguodala, another shot attempt in the first quarter. 7 shot attempts on the game. JaVale's in there. You see him on the offensive glass. But the story early on was San Antonio hanging 37 first quarter points, a season high. Look at Draymond getting put in the blender and hang his head. Rarely do you see that on defense. But it was the typical start from Golden State, slow at Oracle Arena. And I think in the back of their minds, like I said, this San Antonio team does not strike fear into opponents like they once did. And look at this dude. Part of the reason, who is this dude? This dude, I don't like to clown people. Well, I do. But this brother got a lot on his mind. He got big dreams. That thing, woo! I already had to look at Kyle Anderson. All right, back to the game. Now, sometimes guys come into the game with an agenda, and David West clearly wanted to get Sean the ball, passing up a wide-open money spot jumper, and Sean draws the foul. But, sometimes you see that and it's like, hey, man, just make the basketball play. But where I've been very impressed with Livingston of late is his defensive effort is completely been ratcheted up, and that's heartwarming to see. The little dime, the aggression. Like I said, Iguodala looked better in transition. And the key is you got to play fast to play to his strengths. Clay, 3-ball, and is it me? I got to look up his average, but I feel like he loves playing the Spurs. Back to D. West, and that pass to Livingston was probably the only error he made all night. He was 6 of 6, 13 points, 4 rebounds in 17 minutes. The Spurs were like, where the hell was that when we signed you, D. West? I feel like Sean should have tried to attack the rim a little more ferociously. He barely squeezes that one in. And if he was more aggressive, he would have went to the line where he shoots better, and it's a weakness from this team, right? We don't get to the free throw line enough. Like, look at this right here. Why settle for that jump shot with the slow-footed Aldridge on you? I would just like to see him attack the rim a little bit more, but you can't complain about this effort. This is where it's really been ratcheted up, and I feel like I had mentioned before, the last 2 weeks or so, this second unit is starting to rev the engine, particularly on the defensive end of the basketball. Now, if we can get one more guy off the bench shooting like David West, all will be right in Warrior World, right? Now, here's the conundrum that Steph Curry puts you in. Young Forbes is on him, and you see how he's face guarding him because he's so concerned with the 3 and fighting over those screens. But what does that do? The counter is the back door, and it's kind of like pick your poison. But the problem is the youngster showed it too early, and it was too easy of a read for Steph, so Pop's going to dig into him. And honestly, maybe we need a little more of this from Steve Kerr. Maybe he needs to do a little more of this to some of our guys at times. Now, y'all know I'm going to do this once a game. Watch Steph Curry look like Vern Davis growing across the middle in San Francisco. Gator arms. Like, what was that? What kind of effort was that? He's lucky Draymond didn't throw that pass. That's all I got to say about that. But his defensive effort was there tonight. For the most part, off ball and on ball, I really liked his energy defensively. The push, the pass, and the finish. And then Draymond had a great sequence here to end the half. Watch him hit the 3-ball. He understands Aldridge damn near not coming out on that, so he took his time and knocks it down. And then he didn't get much opportunity to guard LaMarcus, who had a nice first half, but he did here to close it. And watch him just put the clampers on him. Draymond knows his moves. Pull up, no sir. So the Warriors right their wrongs going into the second half. I was concerned, though, about Zaza and how they were going to attack him in the second half, and then he hits Patty Mills with the wall of death. And look, I love the grin. The grin says it all from Zaza, but you think Patty Mills is fighting over that screen as hard as he did the next time around? I don't think so, man. These things add up. And then again, to his credit, look at the defense on Aldridge. This was where they were going to attack, and he just stuck to it again, never getting discouraged. Now, to me, I think Patty Mills needs to take more shots in this offense. With no Kawhi, you know what I mean? They're missing so many weapons. Only 10 shots from Patty Mills is not enough. And then I love this defense from Steph Curry. This might have been one of his best one-on-one defensive sequences we've seen all season. Look at him fight over the screen. Stays with Green, and then cookies. This is a great pass from KD. He knew what he was doing the whole way down the court, and Zaza ended up having a nice little offensive output. But within the play, Steph, and he plays on his toes so much, I think that's why right there you see the ankle. And he's always on his toes, and I think that's what makes him more susceptible to those little tweaks, right? He's never down flat-footed on his heels, and he shouldn't be, right? As a guard, you shouldn't be, but I think he's just a little toe heavy, at least on that outer toe, is my diagnosis from Dr. Al. One coaching adjustment, they sent a double at Aldridge, and they did it later, which was better, and it worked out. There's the rotation, and that's a look you have to live with. We're lucky he didn't knock it down, and then Klay, like his personal life, attacks the hole aggressively. Reminiscent of the dunk on Kyle Singler in Detroit a few seasons ago. And I love that, man. Am I tripping, or do when I start picking on a guy about an attribute, they come out and like flash it? I swear, man, I love it. The reverse jinx is real. And then it went into heat check mode. Could you be any more efficient, Mr. Klay Thompson? 10 of 14 for 25 points, 5 of 6 from downtown. Watch KD hold his hand here. He had the left hand contusion. To me, it looks like he's holding the right hand there. It could have just been a finger on that deflection or whatnot, but maybe that had to do with his lack of shot attempts. Look at Aldridge's left shoulder, running hook, the bulldozer, but he was very limited in the second half. Klay, not so much. Another one. And it became very apparent down the stretch when we put the clamps on, they have no one to generate a shot right here. Look at Kyle Anderson just try to rise up in Draymond's face. No. Out in transition, and Durant tippy-toes his way to the basket. And again, maybe if that hand is bothering him, he doesn't want to spike the ball. So, I don't know. Luckily, we didn't need that. Draymond's like, I don't care about my shoulder. I'm a shoulder lean on him. So the bench got up a couple times with some shocking dunks as the Warriors started to flex. Here's a look at the growth from JaVale McGee. He's shown more discipline with his shot challenging. He challenges later, but his length still affects the shot. He doesn't need to jump early, right? He can recover, and I think he's starting to figure that out, and he's becoming much more effective as a rim protector. This time, he just gets all of it at the top of the square, right? But Zaza ended up having a great game, but I'd like to see more of JaVale. He's really earning some more of my trust as a fan. There's another challenge coming up short. That's difficult. Here we go. Danny Green wants it back. I thought he dislocated the thumb. I thought we were going to see something real gruesome the way he held that, but thankfully, DG was all good. More from Killa, and I'd like to see more of this in the second half of the season where he just goes off. We've been missing those games where he just is, red hot. And then David West bulldozing and rearranging teeth. Guys are getting out of the way of that. He's been doing it for so long that the refs don't call it, right? If Looney or McGee throws an elbow like that, that's a foul. And then P-Mac, okay, I see you, boy. Still didn't hit a jump shot, but that was an impressive block at the rim. It shouldn't have been a foul. The landing is what made it call it a foul. Andre, he shoots it so much better off the dribble. Now, we can't ask him to take off the dribble threes, but this thing quickly turned into garbage time, and you know what that means. We're going to get some swaggy. So Warriors handle business after a rough start at home. Peep this interview from Steph. Now, I want you to look at the drunk girl behind Steph. She looks like she's about a bottle and a half deep on some Chardonnay. Probably cost $250. She's like, Steph, you're so amazing. And dude's like, not again. Remember what you did to me at the Christmas party? I can't take you anywhere. Look at her. I mean, they're going to have to carry her ass out of there. Anyway, I always get a kick of the people that are on camera. They're either trying to get off it or they're trying to get more time, right? I'll leave you with one last look at Killa.